You are listening to Rocket Shop Radio Hour at Big Heavy World. I'm your host, Abby BK.
And I'm Keegan Lafferty.
And with us in the studio today, we have Bullfrog. How are you guys?
Ribbit.
We're doing good.
We're good.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah, welcome in. So to kick things off, I always just like to go around and have everyone introduce themselves and their instrument. So how about we do that first?
I'm Riley Amorosa. I'm the vocalist.
I'm Martin Brendan Patrick Casey Jr., and I play the guitar.
Oh, wow. My name's Evan Barker, and I play the bass.
Awesome. Well, welcome in. We usually like to kick things off as well with a song. So what have you got for us?
We have a song that came out very recently. It's on Spotify and Apple Music and all that. It's titled Daffodil. That's going to be our first song for today.
1, 2, 3.
I've been working in a coal mine, dreaming of that liquor still. And there's nothing more that I would adore than my darling daffodil. Southern Appalachia coal mine in a tiny mining town. I pray my babe will wait for me till the morning do come around. Till the morning do come round. Yodel, hey, I pray my babe will wait for me till the morning do come around. I owe my soul to the coal mine, dreaming of that liquor still. And there's nothing more that I would adore than my darling daffodil. Her eyes are made of stardust, those curls are made of cloud. And every time she kisses me, I lift right off the ground. I lift right off the ground. Yodel, yes, every time she kisses me, I lift right off the ground. Working in a coal mine, dreaming of that liquor still. And there's nothing more that I would adore than my darling daffodil. We can move far from the city, grow old on that small homestead. And I promise, Lord, I want nothing more, just to love her till I'm dead. Just to love her till I'm dead. Yodel, I promise, Lord, I want nothing more, just to love her till I'm dead. Down here in a coal mine, dreaming of that liquor still. And there's nothing more that I would adore than my darling daffodil. Fought our way out of Georgia, crawled across that Dixie line. Oh, I promise, Lord, I'd fight 100 wars just to make that sweet girl mine. Just to make that sweet girl mine. Yodel, I promise, Lord, I'd fight 100 wars just to make that sweet girl mine. Just to make that sweet girl mine. Yodel, I promise, Lord, I'd fight 100 wars just to make that sweet girl mine.
Good job.
Daffodil by Bullfrog. So you just released this single this month. So tell us a little bit more about what that process was like and the whole production of your first official single.
Took a little longer than we were hoping, but I think we're very happy with the outcome. It's definitely been a long time coming. But like I said, I think we put a lot of passion, a lot of work into this, and we're very happy with how it came out.
Yeah, I was going to say that Riley wrote the words, the lyricist behind the tune and the spirit behind it. And I think Evan had this
Skeleton.
a skeleton of it, and then he kept bothering me and was like, "Hey, like, you know, I'd like to see what you can do with it, I guess."
Yeah.
And then it came together. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the writing process for the whole group. Really has been Riley writes lyrics and melodies, and then like Brendan and I come together. And for a while, it was just Riley and I kind of like writing these songs, and then but once Brendan joined, it just kind of like multiplied how fast we could write the songs, because just like we both have really good ears in terms of the traditions of the music and stuff like that. And so I gotta get closer to the mic. And so that kind of makes the songs write themselves.
Yeah, super easy.
Yeah, and fun.
Yeah, fun that you found that flow for sure.
How did you produce this song? Like, how did the production process work?
So we recorded the tracks in our friend's basement, or I mean the studio. You can look it up on Instagram. It's called Beltone Studios.
It's a finished basement with a carpet.
Finished basement. Well, they're getting new ones. But and then from there, one of my really, really close friends, Sam Harris, engineered, mixed, and mastered it from there, from the raw tracks. And so that is kind of the chain of production, you could say. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. So you have this single out. Do you have other ones in the works? Are you working on a bigger project, an EP or an album? Tell us all the deets.
We have so many songs written at this point, but we have not started recording them yet. But I think we're gonna very soon.
Yeah, that's the plan.
I think we probably have at least 2 albums worth of material, and
Oh, nice.
eventually we will record it and then release
Yeah.
it.
We're just trying to figure out kind of the exact, because like the trio is really nice, but I think we would really like to kind of figure out what other textures we want to bring into the music from there. You know, whether or not to do it in an overdub style where we just kind of lay the bass tracks, or have it be in a group setting with all the instruments all at once.
We've had a few very talented friends of ours sit in for some of our live shows, and those were really fun. And those, I think, kind of highlighted how, you know, having like a lot of people on stage and in the group, and kind of adding to the energy, it's really makes it such a special thing. And we're, you know, I'm always very excited to see who we have, and you know, because there's just so many wonderful people around Burlington that play all these different you know, shows, and you know, the next show, who knows who's going to be up on stage.
Who knows, man?
Who knows?
Who knows?
So I'd love to hear more about each of your individual musical backgrounds, kind of how each of you started playing music, writing music, and then how you came together.
Yeah. I can start. I played the small bass for a while in my middle school orchestra, and then going into high school, I switched to the upright bass. I played the violin, and then I switched to playing upright bass in high school, and then throughout college, just kind of played electric bass, like kind of casually, and then when I graduated, I kind of started playing a lot more, and it kind of evolved into this, you know, beautiful lifestyle where I was actually fortunate enough to be able to quit my job a week ago and kind of try to make the thing happen.
Godspeed.
So right now I play in a band called the All Night Boogie Band, the Lara Swass Band, this band, and do a bunch of other filling gigs, and a band called Scram, which, shameless plug, we're playing Radio Bean on Friday, so you should come by.
Should I go?
Yeah.
All right. I think I started playing guitar when I was in 3rd grade, maybe. My dad was a musician and played guitar, but he was right-handed, so I learned initially how to play on a right-handed guitar upside down, and then I think I picked it up left-handed enough times to where my parents were like, all right, you need one that goes that way. So I got one eventually. Actually, it was a right-handed one that we just restrung. Yeah, music I feel like has always been a big part of my life in my childhood too. And I love history. I've always loved history, so I'm big into traditional stylings of music and stuff like that. I didn't start seriously, like actively learning and playing guitar until probably like my senior year of high school. And I was in like a cover band for a sec back home. like kind of still learning how to play while I did it. And then I moved to Vermont and got the all night boogie band started. That's like my baby, and that's like my main gig. Other than that, I just kind of play like blues with some of the old folks here, not in a derogatory sense. They're young at heart, but they're older than me, and I learn a lot from them. So.
Oh, I have not nearly as much of a musical background as the other two. I grew up singing and doing some chorus and stuff. Not too much, but I used to listen to a lot of old traditional country and folk music growing up. My dad taught me to wrestle growing up, and we were always listening to old folk music and like old country. And so that's kind of how this all came to be. And then I am a writer, and I write a lot of stuff on my own time. And ended up happening was I was on my way out to California to visit some friends and spend some time out there doing some farming. Because I grew up doing agriculture and farming and working the land. But I ended up writing a song and sent it to Evan, and this whole thing kind of kicked off. And we've been writing and doing Bullfrog stuff ever since. But yeah, I think writing has always kind of been a passion of mine, and that's where the songs come from.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Riley sent me that first song, really, it was just kind of this like light bulb moment of like, oh my God, like this is like the combination of like an old school, like you could hear this being played on a record coming from a while ago, like talking about the history of it, but with this like new kind of modern, like I hadn't heard it before. So it was like this like nostalgia of like I had heard it before, but I hadn't heard it before. And as soon as that kind of clicked for me, I was like, wait, record that, write that down. Like, you know, because what, you like wrote them while you drive, banging on your steering wheel, like just kind of like shouting to the wind.
Yeah, the writing process happens a lot while I'm driving. I'm not sure why, but I do it safely just to let everybody know. I
Drive safe, kids.
I'll mutter stuff to myself and then pull over and write it down in the notes app on my phone. But yeah, it's a lot of times while I'm driving. Not sure why.
Hey, when the inspiration hits, it hits. So obviously, when you're in your other groups, you're playing different genres as well. So what is that like, kind of like having this project be more country, bluegrass, that kind of vibe, but then also having to kind of transition your brain to playing other genres and with other people? How do you manage all of that?
So you have a more not restrictive, I don't know. I play in a lot of different groups that do a lot of different styles, and oftentimes the other groups that I'm playing in are very fusion oriented, and so it's like pretty easy to, like, if I've been playing a lot of bluegrass, I could just throw a little bluegrass in there, and people around that I'm playing with around me will kind of adjust to that on the fly. But I think, you know, you can probably speak a little bit more to this, like blues and bluegrass kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say for what we do in boogie band compared to here, a lot of the vocabulary kind of overlaps because it's all, you know, from the American roots. So other than maybe playing like more open chords, a lot of like the scales that I'm playing are similar, more 16th notes than 8th notes, I think they're called. But it's just a little quicker in that sense.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's overlapped, I think, for me.
Because like I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, like the blues and bluegrass kind of come from a very similar like root of it all, but they were just kind of divided into like different regions and different
Different
like,
races.
different races from, you know, in the Americas and stuff like that.
Yeah. Cool that you get to explore it all and find what fits for you.
Yeah, I guess like going off of that, did you like when did you all discover bluegrass compared to other genres? Like, did bluegrass come first? Did the other genres come first? How did that go?
I think I listened to a lot of like traditional folk as a kid. Like I love Mississippi John Hurt and stuff, and I think his stylings translate so close to Doc Watson, who, you know, big proponent in early American folk music and bluegrass and whatnot. And I think that was kind of my entryway into figuring that out.
I think I listen to more like old country and like blues with my dad, but the other side of my family and my mom, I listen to more the Jerry Garcia acoustic stuff, which was kind of my first introduction to bluegrass, and so I grew up, hearing some of those old things like Shady Grove, and that became kind of my favorite version of a lot of those old songs, and from there, that's where it kind of came from for me.
Yeah, I grew up in North Carolina, and my parents took me to many bluegrass festivals. Like when I was like tiny, I have photos of like small me playing a really big guitar and really large looking violin. And so like the Avett Brothers were kind of one of my first like real like more on the poppy side of things, but still roots in that way. And then Chris Thile, I would say, is probably my biggest inspiration into this genre of music because he's just prolific and just a true virtuoso.
Awesome. Anything else over there or another song?
Yeah, let's hear another song.
This song's called Rusty Town. This is like a foot stomper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go down to Rusty Town, you'll feel the dark and sin hit ground. Cause those who go don't come back round. Don't go to Rusty Town. Had me a little girl, she was my best friend. I thought we'd make it till the end. I sold my soul just to pay the rent, and now my baby's gone and went. Don't go down to Rusty Town, you'll feel the dark and sin hit ground. Cause those who go don't come back round. Don't go to Rusty Town. Woo! Yee! Ration's short and work is poor, and those that have, they just want more. We work all day but can't afford to leave this rusty town. Don't go down to Rusty Town, you'll feel the dark and sin hit ground. Cause those who go don't come back round. Don't go to Rusty Town. Can't go back and can't go forward, won't bet you and bang on the door. Please run from here, boy, you've been forewarned to leave this rusty town. Don't go down to Rusty Town, you'll feel the dark and sin hit ground. Cause those who go don't come back round. Don't go to Rusty Town. Oh, my feet are killing me. I know the left one's gone gangrene. Ain't got long, boy, listen please, just leave this rusty town. Don't go down to Rusty Town, you'll feel the dark and sin hit ground. Cause those who go don't come back round. Don't go to Rusty Town. Don't go down to Rusty Town, you'll feel the dark and sin hit ground. Cause those who go don't come back round. Don't go to Rusty Town.
Rusty Town by Bullfrog. So I would love to hear a little bit more about now that you're out gigging, you're busy, you're professional musicians doing the thing. What are some of like the biggest lessons that you've learned taking this seriously, being like on the road, doing all these gigs? What has that like learning curve been like?
This quote that I've kind of been living and dying by recently that somebody shared is that nobody gets killed in our line of work if they play a wrong note. So I feel like that kind of keeps you a little sane, you know. I also think, I don't know. I feel like a lot of musicians have high standards for themselves, but I think sometimes that can drive you a little crazy if you, you know. So just being content with your abilities and knowing your strengths, and also while recognizing your weaknesses, I think is cool. Also, drink a lot of water and sleep. Sleep's
Yeah.
important.
Sleep important. It can be really hard in this line of work, like with how late the evenings go, and then how sometimes like early the mornings go. At least for when I was working. I mean, you still work, but when I was working, I was like, you know, setting up and tearing down till 2 a.m. then having to get up for an 8 a.m. you know, phone call or meeting or something like that, and so that like inability to establish a routine, I think, is probably one of the bigger difficulties with this kind of work. And then also on the other side of things, just like remembering it's all for fun. Like you're doing this for the fun of the music. You know, it kind of like that exact quote. Like you don't get shot for a wrong note, because in reality, like a wrong note is just one half step away from a right note.
Dude,
And so
John
you can always
Coltrane
figure it out.
Toast.
Yeah, for me, I think it's just not letting the fame go to my head. No, I'm just kidding. I don't gig nearly as much as these two here. I am in another small folk trio called Dandelion Wine, and I have gigged with some other friends of ours. But yeah, for me, I think the aspect of it being a cool thing that I can put a lot of passion into and time into and energy into, that's constructive and different and creative, and it's not something that I've always done. Like, yeah, this is a recent thing, last couple years that we've been doing this. But I do feel a lot of gratitude to be able to play with, you know, these wonderful people that I get to call my very close friends. And also, yeah, the watching them play music and having other people play music, and I remember the feeling of, you know, you see something, some music that's really good, and you feel something, you feel some type of emotion, and I remember feeling like I wanted to do that and provide that for somebody, whether that's, you know, helping getting over a breakup or loss or whatever the song that, you know, is about, or just a fun dancing song. But we kind of cover a lot of things, and a lot of the music that I write is kind of all over the place in that regard. But the notion of, you know, making someone feel something, that's where I remember that sticking in my head.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. On the topic of like live shows, I'd love to hear more about where you guys are playing and what kind of gigs you have.
Well, right now we don't have anything on the books.
Not necessarily coming up also, but like where,
We did Art Hop.
what kind of shows you've been doing, I guess.
Yeah, we've done Radio Bean, and
Cool.
we did Art Hop down at Arts Riot.
Yeah, we love Arts Riot. We love Radio Bean. It was a lot of fun, and we hope to do it again soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think a Bullfrog show can range from anything from just the three of us doing just like some fun, like, you know, the other day we played Art Hop for Arts Riot, and it was kind of super stripped down, super loose, and it just was kind of like us hanging out with our audience.
I
Just
kind of dig that.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed the kind of the vibe that was curated by just us enjoying ourselves, having a good time, and then kind of pulling the audience into that with us as well. I think is a very unique experience, you know. And then on the other side of the spectrum is we could be playing Radio Bean, and having like a bunch of friends coming in and sitting in back and forth, and have it be more of like a polished like show type thing rather than just like a hangout that we happen to be playing music at.
Yeah.
You know, I think the intimacy that comes with the small shows are really cool.
I love it. It's beautiful.
And you know, like Evan said, the spectrum of the shows and where and how it's part of the really cool part about this is that we
we can rip at Radio Bean and also play outside of the farmers market at Arts Riot and have like kids stop by and watch music and stuff like that. And, it's fun.
We would love to play your local farmers market, so please hit us up.
For sure.
Have you guys played outside of Burlington with Bullfrog?
Not yet.
Not with
This
Bullfrog.
this group is super brand new. I think Riley started sending me these lyrics 2 years ago, right? And then it took really until this winter for us to really start rehearsing. And then the single took like a couple months, give or take some mental hardship. But, we got through that. And
What do you mean by that, man?
no, not you.
I'm joking.
And so we're super new to the scene. Honestly, I know Brennan and I are a little kind of more established than anything else, but
We have gray hairs and stuff.
yeah, from the stress, Christ.
Yeah, well, it's a lot to prepare for playing shows as well. So how often are you getting together and rehearsing with this group?
Not enough.
Now I was gonna say the same thing. That's so
Not
funny.
enough. We're working on getting back into a groove because sometimes Brendan and I get super busy, especially with me
Yeah.
working a job in the past. Like that was just kind of overwhelming. I
Totally.
was not able to do both aspects of my life as well as I wanted to do it.
But now you have more time.
Now I have
for
more
Bullfrog.
time. Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey.
Awesome. Well, we would love to hear your third song. So what have you got for us?
Yeah. This song is called "Runnin' Home." We were writing it this is probably one of the more recent songs that we've like fully fleshed out. It was the day before a gig. It was the day of a gig, and we were rehearsing, and we were like, oh, like let's finish this song for the set. It'll be cool. And we hit this chord, and it was just like, oh, like that's it.
We screamed.
Like we
I
were
literally
like,
think we
oh
screamed.
my god, this is exactly where the song needed to go, and exactly where what it should sound like, and that kind of feeling really when Riley writes these such beautiful lyrics. And it's Brendan and I's task to kind of like support those lyrics and get that message across. When you really hit that, is one of the most unexplainable feelings.
I was gonna say it's kind of like Riley has a melody, right? And then me and Evan are almost like finding the puzzle pieces that go underneath it. And like you can kind of make your progressions as complex, and sometimes they don't sound good when they're complex, but like adding like just a couple extra chords to supplement the melody underneath is like when something clicks, it's like whoa. So yeah.
Yeah,
Running home.
I hope you guys will pick up on that.
Oh, I'm a running from the law just like my father. Look to the stars to find me further north, and where the mountains cut through the water, that's where I hang my head and I hitch my horse. Oh yeah, that's where I lay my head and I hitch my horse. Oh, I'm a running from the law just like my father. Oh, I'm a running from the law just like my father. Look to the stars to guide me further north, and where the mountains cut through the water, that's where I'll lay my head and I hitch my horse. Oh yeah, that's where I'll lay my head and I hitch my horse. from the law just like my father. Break a rail and I'll go off course. But with my last $20, I'll take the westward train home in the morning. Oh yeah, I'll take the westward train home in the morning. Oh, I'm a-running from the law just like my father. Look to the stars to guide me further north, and where the mountains cut through the water, that's where I'll lay my head and I hitch my horse. Oh yeah, that's where I'll lay my head and I hitch my horse. And where the mountains cut through the water, that's where I lay my head and hitch my horse.
Running home, Bullfrog. Well, I would love to hear a little bit more about. So, you said that you have content for like 2 albums. So, that's super awesome and impressive. So, do you have kind of like an idea of what the next project will be? Like themes, what songs you'll put on it? Any names coming to mind yet? Or still figuring it out?
All right. So we have a Google Doc, Google folder. It's called Yeehaw Music, and and in it, Riley has meticulously crafted album 1, album 2, all the songs.
Love
The
it.
names are written, the lyrics are written, and we just really need to sit down and finish writing what Brendan and I do, which is the chords and that and like the forms and stuff like that. And then honestly, this part that's tricking me up the most is the instrumentation, and it's just like what do we want, when, and how do we want it really. So yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't lie. I think they're pretty good songs too. Like,
Oh yeah.
but that sounds so dumb to say, but like, they sound pretty good. They're pretty good songs, and they deserve to be out there for people to listen to. So we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's cool to be able to create something and give it to these guys and have them kind of help me finish it. Brendan is so talented and has his history of folk knowledge, and his history knowledge in general is really cool. And then Evan is just so talented and can play anything at any time on the bass, and has always been like that. We lived together for a while, and he was my roommate. And it was one of my favorite things, coming home and hearing him play and practice, and then he would practice for hours and hours, and it was great.
I wish.
But he was always working, and it's been a really cool thing to watch him grow and watch Brendan grow and watch kind of this whole scene grow. And I'm privileged to be a part of it. And that's where I can't currently play an instrument to the level that these guys can. I'm working on playing the banjo, but I can write, and I can try to sing, and I'm doing my best. So that's where I can try to give these guys as much, feed these guys as much as I can to create as much music as we can.
Totally. I would love to hear more about like your lyrical songwriting process and how those lyrics come to mind. I do think like listening to the lyrics, they sound very like storytelling, a lot of imagery, which is common in bluegrass. So I'm wondering like where that comes from and how you do it.
Yeah, like I used to read a lot and write a lot growing up. But some of my favorite artists that I think like current and older, that kind of I take inspiration of, I would say like Jim Croce. I used to listen to a lot growing up, and I think his picking was incredible, but also his voice and the stories that he would tell was I think very, very unique and very special, and that was always a big inspiration. And there's kind of more current people. I think Willie Carlisle is someone that comes to mind. I listen to Willie Carlisle all the time, and I think the words and the the vocabulary he uses are funny, but also like mean a lot and are unique, and so I think trying to pull from that. I will like sit down and go, I want to write a song like this artist, and songs will come from that. And just kind of like not copy, but just try to emulate like a tone or a specific cadence or something along those lines. But that's where some of my favorite stuff comes from.
Cool. Would you say the lyrics are more like autobiographical, or are they about stories you've made up? Like what exactly? How would you describe like the content of the lyrics?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I grew up farming with my family, and I'm no stranger to hard labor kind of thing. But also the aspect of this kind of being a traditional thing. I think a joke I like to make a lot of times is that Vermont is technically, and then I'll technically it's part of the Appalachian Mountains, and so it's kind of a little bit of Vermont has always had this kind of very folky roots, kind of country vibe, and also country vibe. What a thing to say. But it has it is kind of a very real place, and it has its very rural communities. And I grew up in a small town, and as I said, I grew up farming and dealing with veggies and plants and animals and hunting and all this stuff. So I'm no cowboy by any means, but I grew up listening to music like that and working with my hands, and I think it kind of came naturally. But yeah, I think a lot of it too, like the song I wrote as I was traveling west to California is called I-80 West. It was on the highway as I was driving out there, and that's the song that kicked it all off. There's definitely songs there's songs that are like about people or things. Also like growing up I lost a fair amount of family, so there's some songs that are about that, and there's songs about like I have one song that I wrote about my brother. That's I really think that obviously the whole struggle of working hard versus being happy and trying to find a middle ground, and everybody kind of tries to do that. And so there's songs that are about real people and real experiences and stuff, and there's some stuff that's a little bit more made up. But like Rusty Town is about not getting stuck in a small town kind of thing. Not that I fear I'm going to be stuck in Burlington, but the aspect of how people tend to fall into hard ways financially or however, and get stuck in places. And I'm a human being, and I feel all sorts of stuff, and I think that's where a lot of it comes from too.
Yeah. Would you say that songwriting like helps you process emotions?
Yeah, I think that's. I'm not I would say so. It's not necessarily like a huge outlet. I think it's more a creative outlet for me than like a emotional processing thing. It's a way for me to be creative, and you could say so, because it's a way for me to kind of like do something that's not take myself out of it a little bit and focus on something that's constructive. But yeah, I think it's a fun, like, energetic thing for me.
Totally.
Awesome. Well, we would love to hear your last song. So what have you got?
So this last song is called Happy Starvin' Farmin'. And it is kind of, Riley kind of mentioned it in that the story of this song is that, you kind of do have to choose between, like, making a living for yourself or pursuing your dreams. And, this song is kind of about how you'd be happier starving while farming than, not. So, yeah. I forgot the lyric.
Starving farming is the metaphor for doing what you want and being happy and chasing your dream, even though if it's a little uncomfortable.
Nice.
They said it better.
I like to count the song in like if Bruce Springsteen were to count it in. So be prepared. Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Happy starving farming, ain't gonna work my life away. Get uptight in my belt and get to harvesting that way. Got me a little dog, she's chasing varmint all day, but we're happier starving farming than working on the chain. Happy starving farming, ain't gonna work my life away. Get uptight in my belt and get to harvesting that way. Might chew cud with the cows or get to munching on some hay, but we're happier starving farming than working on a chain. Happy starving farming, ain't gonna work my life away. Get uptight in my belt and get to harvesting that way. Got me some dirty hands from planting garlic all day, but we're happier starving farming than working on the chain. Happy starving farming, ain't gonna work my life away. Get uptight in my belt and get to harvesting that way. Got a letter from my brother, says he broke out yesterday. Well, we're happier starving farming than working on the chain. Happy starving farming, ain't gonna work my life away. Get uptight in my belt and get to harvesting that way. We ain't got much to eat, except plenty of good company. Well, we're happier starving farming than working on the chain.
Starvin' Farmin' by Bullfrog. Cool. Well, thank you so much. Before we get off the show, I'd love to give you a chance to promote yourselves, how we can support you best, where we can find you, any upcoming things that we should look out for.
Well, we just released a single. It's called Daffodil.
It's on all of them.
All of them, all the services. Our name is Bullfrog. So it's not one word, it's a bull and a frog.
There's a space in between.
Which will throw Spotify off and probably Apple Music too. And yeah, just stay tuned for an album because we are definitely in the works of we've written it. And so now we just need to figure out what to do with it.
Great. Cool. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you to our listeners. You've been listening to Rocket Shop Radio Hour on the Radiator. I'm your host, Keegan. Join us again in 2 weeks on October 9th. We have Red Heron. Thank you, and have a great rest of your night.
Yeah.